What is going on, my beautiful and handsome Capricorns? Butch Tarot here. I am going to do your November monthly read. It is a general read, so it may not resonate with everyone. It is for your Sun, Moon, Rising, and your Venus. For all you cross watchers, roles can be reversed. Always feel free to comment down below. If you're new, welcome. You like the content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. To all y'all that's been here before, you know me, we're all with the love here. And with all that being said, let's get it. Universe, what message do we have for Capricorns for November 2025? Ooh. Okay, Capricorns. So first thing is, I feel like there's somebody. Now, either this is someone you're gonna already know, or someone coming in, but someone, they got their eye on you. You know, I feel like with this person, for some of you, this may be someone you work with, or a friend, or both. We have the Three of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. So like I said, you may already know this person, or there's maybe someone coming in. You know, sometimes we know people that we don't know. You know, someone may work with us, or, you know, live in our building or our neighborhood that we don't really know. So this is what I'm talking about. This is someone coming in. But they obviously know you. And I feel like they like what they see. You know, and they know what they want. You know, they know what they want out of life. You know, I feel like not only what they want right now, but what do they want out of life? What do they want end game? You know, with the two of Wands and the King of Pentacles, this person has their shit together. You know, they know what it is that they're after in life. And they feel very strongly that you should be a part of that. They want you to be a part of that. You know, I feel like this person trying to align themselves with you, you know, getting in close. Like I said, this person doesn't mess around when they want something. You know, with the King of Cups, I just feel like this person's ready. They're ready to build something. They're ready to settle down. They're ready to have someone to share a life with. You know, I feel like they've been hesitant in the past, and they're not going down that road anymore with the two of Swords in reverse. You know, they're just giving up on them old ways. Just, they want someone they can build a future with. You know, that's exactly what I see with this person. And I know this is a little deep for someone that you may not have met yet, or even someone you just don't know that they got an eye on for you, but this is their goal. You know, and I feel like this person, they go after what they want, like I said. You know, this is someone that wants to build a foundation, build strong, you know, a strong foundation, lay some roots down. They're looking for something real. You know, with the Four of Wands and the Hierophant, that Taurus energy. I mean, I feel like this person, like I said, they're looking for something to give everything to, and that's exactly what they do. That's what they're going to do. You know, they're going to show up. They're going to put in the work. They know it's not going to come to them for free. Everything in life that's worth anything, you got to buckle up and work for it. And that doesn't stop. And they want to find someone that they can trust, someone that can trust them, and someone that they can establish that trust with, so they can have someone they can rely on, because there's someone that you can rely on. They're only looking for what they're offering. Some people want more than they offer. This person is not that person. I feel like this person may have other options, but they're not even looking at that. They see what they want. And even though they may have other options, or you may have other options, this may be you. It doesn't matter to this person. Whether you have more options or they have more options, I don't see this person giving up. Because it took them this long to find what they wanted, and now that they found it, I really don't see this person giving up. Not easily. I mean, we have the Fool card. It's the beginning of a new journey. This is a journey that they want to take with you, and they're all in. There's no second guessing. There's no trying to change their own mind. This is someone that's just, they got it in their head that they want you. They want to see where it goes. They feel like you could be the person that's missing, the final piece to their life coming together. And like I said, they already got their life together to a point. They're just missing someone to share it with. Like I said, this person is just going all in. I mean, they're not giving up. They may never give up. They don't want to have the regret. They seize the moment. They go after what they want. Like I said before, and with this person, now when I said it may be someone you work with, I feel like I'm more mature energy, so it could be someone that you actually work for. Someone higher up than you. But I'm or older. I'm definitely getting a mature vibe. Or just mentally just more mature. Because like I said, we have the King of Cups as well, and that's someone that their focus, once they have, it's like tunnel vision. Once they see what they want, they focus on it. That's how they got to where they're at. Like I said, I feel like this person has been successful. I feel like they got their shit together. They didn't do that by luck. Now, one thing about this person is, we got the Page of Cups. I feel like this person's a bit of a dreamer, but I feel like this person, there's different types of dreamers. There's someone that just dreams about everything all the time, and then there's dreamers that's just the blueprint for them to put in action. Dreams are fine as long as you follow through. With this person, I feel like they follow through. The dream is just the idea. It's up to them to put in the action, and I feel like they do. And I feel like this is exactly why they're coming towards you. They feel this connection towards you. They feel this comfort with you. We got the Queen of Wands, the Aries energy. Like, this person's going to chase. Like I said, I don't feel like this person's giving up. And we have the Ten of Cups, like I said, and the Two of Cups. So I feel like this, we have that Pisces Cancer energy. And I just feel like with this person, you're the missing piece. And I know I've said that before, but this is why they're not giving up. They feel, maybe even more than that, they know that you'll be great together. They feel like you're aligned in so many ways. And like I said, with that Page of Pentacles, they're aligning themselves completely. I feel like you are on the same page. I feel like you are wanting the same things. With that Two of Cups, like I said, it's just a bond that they feel with you. They feel connected to you in a way that goes beyond any connection they felt before. So that's why I don't really feel like this person's going to give up. And they'll take you any way they can get you. You know, if it's friends and establishing that trust, they'll do that. If it's being the thing that you need them to be, they'll do that. You know, it's about making you laugh. It's about making you smile. They're going to do that. I mean, they're here for you. I mean, we have the Ten of Pentacles. You know, I feel like everything they want is right there. You know, it kind of reminds me of that old saying, is everything you want is on the other side of fear. Trust me when I say this. It's not that this person isn't afraid. They just want it. They want you more than they're afraid. You know, they're, like I said, this person's really confident in this. Now, saying that this person, you know, isn't going to give up, I don't feel like it's an overbearing energy. I feel like there's a part of this person that kind of plays their hand as they're dealt. You know, they're coming in and they're, you know, establishing something with you and getting rapport. They're building something. And this person is building something they want to last. So they're not going to rush it. So when I say that they won't give up, I feel like no is not really an option. I mean, I don't know what you did. But maybe you didn't do anything. Maybe this person just sees clearly. But I like I said, I don't feel like this person's giving up. I don't feel like that's even an option. I feel like there is a little bit of fear, you know, but this fearlessness in this person, just with the Nine of Swords in reverse. I mean, the want outweighs the fear. With this person, I wouldn't be surprised if it is another earth sign. Like I said, they are a bit of a dreamer, depending on what's in their houses, but they're a bit of a dreamer, but that's just the blueprint. You know, there is type of dreamers. Some people dream about winning the lottery. Some people dream about building a company. You know, some people dream of all different things, but they're very different. You know, you can dream about winning the lottery, but you can't really put it into motion. You can dream about owning a company, but you can put that into motion. And that's what I mean with this person. They're a dreamer, but their dream is just like the blueprint that they end up working off of. You know, I can dream to be a dinosaur and fly off into space, but that's not realistic. Anyway, with this person, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of earth in their chart, maybe even earth sun sign. We have Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo. You know, we have Cancer and Pisces. We have some Aries. Getting some Sagittarius there too. If you're just here for the read, that's what I got for you. I hope it helps. Now, when it comes to I know I got a lot of stories, but I always feel them during the read, and I don't want to say it during the read because I don't want anybody that's just here for the read to be sitting there listening to me yammer on. But it's like I said, there's two different types of dreamers, and I was always, when I was young, I always I really worked hard, but I had no end game. Like I always made Like, even when I was really little, I had paper routes, I shoveled driveways, I always worked my ass off, always, my whole life. I didn't always put that effort in the right direction, so I really got nowhere in the beginning until I figured out that you have to have a direction. It's like being in a boat and not knowing where you're going, so you just kind of swirl around. You know, I dreamed of all these things, but it was unrealistic. And I realized I had to start I had to start dreaming about things that I want that are tangible. And that's when things started rolling. You know, I always thought of it as a blueprint. You want this, you got to do this, this, and this, and this, and this, and this to get there. So now I got myself a map. Before, I was just with a blank paper with an X on it. That's my treasure map. You know, it's okay to dream. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with dreaming. I'm just saying some people use dreams as an engine. And I feel like that's when my life started taking a turn for the better, is when I started using it as an engine. You know, it started up ideas and I put it into motion. Now my problem is I got so many ideas that it's hard to figure out which one to put into motion first. I've been working on with a tarot deck. I'm working on doing some t-shirts. You know, I always had one of my goals was I wanted to start a hat company because I love hats. And I know you see all these hats and it seems like a lot. Unfortunately, every hat has another hat behind it. And a couple more, and I got a bunch over there. And I realized one day, I don't know if you can do it better than New Era. And no, they don't sponsor me. So it's almost like I realized that's why I love t-shirts, like, you know. So that's when that goal, you know, to get to a place where I can, you know, start something and have it out there. You know, same as when I started doing YouTube. Tarot, I enjoyed tarot. I never really thought about putting a YouTube channel together because I'm not really one of those people that enjoy being in front of a camera. And sometimes I have to check myself when I realize that, you know, I got like 250,000 subscribers, and it just blows my mind that many people could possibly watch me. But I love doing it. I wanted to do it, but see, I was putting roadblocks up for myself, and a lot of times that's the only thing that stops us from doing what we want to do is ourselves. So I put myself out there, and I'm so glad that I did. I've got to meet a lot of new friends. You know, got to help a few people. Got people, you know, sending me beautiful messages and gifts, and you know, and it's so nice to be appreciated. It just makes me want to do it more. And I don't know why I'm talking about me. I know people say in the comments, like, I talk about, you know, me. That's because it's my experiences. I can't talk about someone else's experiences. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. And I appreciate you coming and giving me a chance. But I feel like I've connected with a lot of people because of that. And I try to make it relevant so that it's, you know, sometimes it's got to be tangible. Like I said, sometimes you got to see it. I'm one of those people, I have to see things. If you try to explain something to me, I'm better if you just show me rather than tell me. If you tell me, I can get so lost. But if you show me, I usually get it in one try. But like I said, it's more rewarding to just set reasonable dreams, reasonable goals. You know, sometimes you can reach for the stars. It's okay, because there's no other way that you would reach the stars if you didn't try. But like I said, it's about focusing. And it's not going to come to you easy. I remember doing YouTube when I first started. I'd have 10 views, and I love every one of them. And I was so excited. I remember being excited about 100 views, and now it's like just blown my mind. But it took a while. It took months where I was just getting, and I started to wonder if people even like if people like if I just wasn't an interesting person. It happens. But slowly but surely, it just kept building and building, and I stuck with it. A lot of people say when you do YouTube, the first 6 months is crucial. It's going to be hard. It's going to be long. It's going to feel like it's not worth it. And most people give up in that time frame. I'm one of those people, once I start something, I really have a hard time giving up. Anyway, that's enough about me. Be good. Take care. Stay safe.